Okay, so now we are ready to paint the oak leaf camouflage. So as you can see, we have here is a template, alright, that I created from tracing over some of the zel bands. And you can see this is the effects of the pre-shading, right, and the overspray. So I have here, as I said, I'll be using some of the colors from the Waffen SS Camouflage set, right, composed by Jean Martis. So what I have here, these are some rundown of the colors I have here. This is a flat green, right? This is bright orange, Japanese uniform. This is the German. This is the SS middle brown. It's over here, and this is a mixture of black and burnt red in varying proportions. So you can see there's actually more burnt red in this and less burnt red and more black in this one. So I'm going to use this as alternative as the what they call it to fill in what they call the dark brown areas here. Okay, so I'm going to explain a bit about later in terms of the use of the green, right? So first things first, what we're going to do is problem with working with camouflage is that sometimes the colors may be a bit too bright. So what I'm going to do now is in the background now, as you can see, I'm going to sort of what do you call it, tone the palette. Right, so I'm going to tone the colors by using the base color. So I'm going to add a bit of the base color here, which is the SS middle brown, and I'm going to put it into the orange there. Alright, as you can see, it's going to darken the orange, it's going to cut the saturation in the orange. So this is not a problem. We're going to use this first, and then we're going to take a bit of this, and then we're going to put it into the yellow. The yellow is very bright, so what I'm going to do is going to cut the yellow, going to take a bit of the green, just put it in there, and a bit of these two colors here. Right. Okay, and there's a bit of the base color into the yellow. So what I'm doing essentially is I'm cutting, reducing the saturation. So the idea here for now is to harmonize these colors together. Alright, so we're just focusing on harmony. And later on we're going to work our way upwards in terms of how we're going to increase the saturation from there. But for now, our emphasis is on harmony. Now, looking back, looking at this figure, we have done the pre-toning. You can see the basic concepts of highlights, shadows are there, right? With the overspray, everything harmonizes nicely, and now we can just focus on one thing, and it's just to paint the pattern. So as you can see, I've devised a what you call a pointer here, made from a stretch sprue. Okay, so this is the template I'm going to use. So the way to do it, so what I'm going to do is we're going to sort of like do a bit of a plotting exercise here. So whatever we have here, so we're going to move this slightly a bit closer, such that the pointer lines up with the contour. So that's the basic idea in terms of what we are doing. Right, so I'm going to shift this into frame so you can see what we are essentially doing. Alright, so you can see what I'm doing is I'm trying to sort of like use this and sort of trace the pattern from here. Okay, so let's begin. So let's start off first by using the yellow. Alright, I'm going to do a bit of the brown here that we did from the orange. We cut with a bit of the SS brown there. So this is going to give us our first color. So we're going to start dark, and then we're going to work our way upwards, light and dark. Okay, so here we go. So we can see this the yellow areas here. So we're going to do is we're going to work this one up. Okay, so I'm going to place this here, and this is a pointer. Right, just move it aside so where I want it to be. Yep, right about here, right? So we're going to work with dots first. Here, we're going to plot one here, and we're going to plot the pattern here. See that? So what we have like the whole area there. And then now we can sort of slowly trace dot by dot the pattern, right? You can see that. So as we are moving around, you can see we can sort of, I think it's an easy and effective way of painting, right? As you can see, we're working with very light colors here. So again, there's no need to sort of, can move around across here. I'm not really looking at the the pattern here, but rather I'm looking more at the pattern right about here. So what essentially I'm doing is I'm just like tracing it, you see. So I'm just like dabbing it. So once applying washes, you can see a bit of patches here. Not a problem, right? Okay, so you can see we have already sort of like, you know, have one shape coming in to here. Okay, moving up. Next, finding the pattern pointer, right? Okay, so find the pointer right about here, and we can slowly move around. So painting, you can see because we've sort of desaturated the color, and you notice that when it dries, it dries in a very, gives a very nice, you know, muted look. That's what we want, you see. And then all you need to do, just take this and you know where the highlights are going to be, right? So highlights we just need to follow here, and just we have just use without a pointer, right? To just get the basic shapes. And this will help us to keep the camouflage pattern in scale. And it's not as difficult as it seems, right? We have the first pattern out, as you can see. Oops. Need to position myself. I think just some things, some of the. All right. Okay. So I'm just waiting for this to dry, and then just, you know, looking where the light this points to, all right, and then just gradually. Okay, so I already got an idea where the shapes are going to be, right? Okay, there's another one patch here, another patch right about somewhere about here, somewhere in between, another one right about here. Right. So you can see this from the orange, right? Okay. Next, Japanese uniform. Okay. Very lightly. Going to test it out. This is going to be very light, very thin glaze. Maybe I just test a pinch of orange. I'm not going to be very, and then we're just going to just go over the top, like a wash over, to get a bit of the yellow there. You know? Okay, so you can see that with the third pass you can see the colors coming out. Oops. Okay, so adjusting the light a bit. Okay, so waiting for this to dry a bit. Just second pass, just a bit more opacity here. Okay, so you can see that with the, I'm not even using another different color. All I'm doing is I'm building up the tones by layering. All right, so it's just by layering. So you can see layering is actually a very useful way of getting tonal transitions as well. Okay, so instead of mixing a different color, you can actually also, right, use the thickness of the paint, right, applying them in very thin veils of paint, and to sort of build the tonal transitions. Okay, so now, right, okay. Okay, now I'm going to use another color here. This is the add a bit of water just to, okay, it's very thick, so I'm going to add a bit of water. I'm going to apply like a wash. So I'm going to switch to the zero brush here. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to go around the shapes now. Alright, so we're going to sort of use this to plot first here. Right, that's where it is, somewhere around about here, isn't it? So plot, 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 plot. And you can see what's happening here is I'm actually dabbing the colors on. And you can accurately, in a sense, I mean, it depends how skillful you are, you can almost sort of like make a very accurate tracing of the pattern. But for me, I will just use this as a guide for now. Alright, so you can see right now I'm just painting around it. So again, the choice of brushes is very important as well. I like it because this has a much more slender. So you can see how I'm actually using the pointer here. Right, more water, more paint. Okay, so just at least move around here. So you can see how I'm sort of like being able to sort of plot around it. So it doesn't really matter if I can't get it right here. Right, so down about here, same thing. So I'm just gonna wink it a bit, right? So it's around about here. good enough. Oops, too much water. Unload. So you can see that once you start to form a droplet there, it's too much. So yeah, I'm gonna just use this and push around. So I like it because this particular brush has a very nice slender body. And then you can sort of like, you know, move it around. It loads a lot of paint. That's what I love about this particular brush. So, and you can sort of push the water. You can just push the paint around. It's like watercolor, right? It's designed for watercolor, and it's the best way to respect its properties, as I said, is to use it as it's like it's how it was meant to be built. I mean, it's like a watercolor brush. So, main is to work with high dilutions of water, which I mean I particularly favor, right? So now you can see I don't need to really the pointer now, just to check, you know, in terms of where certain features are, right here and here. Alright, I can sort of like, you know, match it there, over to here. It's a bit of a fiber there. Pick it up. Back to the orange now. Let's check it out. Your water. So now I can sort of, you know, go in again and then sort of like, oops, too much. Up. Another brush. Drain it up. Okay. Not an issue. Oops. Pointer came out. No matter, I just put the pointer aside first. The general information is there. I can work with this. Right, so now it's just a matter of just, you know, just lightly just pushing around this shape there. This is highly diluted, right? So you can see I can sort of push paint around. I can go around, it swirls around in circles, you know. As you can see, right? This is just coming out just beautiful. Okay, I'm gonna use a bit of the. Okay, now I'm going to take a bit of the green. I'm going to combine it with a bit of this. Okay, take a bit of green, a bit of the orange. I'm going to get like a sort of like a middle. And a bit of the red, the black red here. Sorry, the burnt red. So I'm gonna use that. Oops, I'm gonna just use it. Probably I need more. Okay. Yeah, it's the right color. It's too dark again. So now, to get some of these the darker brown there. Okay, right about here, right? So you see we're creating a bit of like cloud patterns here. Okay, good. Probably somewhere around about here, you can just place something like that. These shapes like about that, right? Okay, now we can go in again with the. So you can see is I'm not strictly following using the pointer now. Pointer has helped me sort of like, you know, got the scale of the camouflage right. So at least I know where to go. So following it is going to be a bit tricky, I find. But so this is where I'm improvising right now. This will more or less help you get at least a good what do you call the approximate, a good ballpark idea of how the pattern is going to be like, and you can sort of, you know, wink it from here. I will do that. I'm doing that right now, just winking it. So you don't need to be like 100% precise, you know. I think ultimately it's what we're looking for here is it's a representation. It's not really a duplication of what we are doing, right? It's a representation. So I think it's just as long as we can able to, you know, convey the spirit and essence of what the camouflage is like, and you know, allow the subject matter to come out. I think that's the most important thing, right? But as you can see, this is actually not a very stressful. We can show it to you. I'm showing it to you right now. It's not really a camouflage painting. It's not or rather, painting camouflage patterns is not exactly a difficult endeavor as some of you guys may think. You just need to know what the proper technique is, and there are a lot of good painters out there who can do pretty good camouflage, paint good patterns. So they have their own systems. I have mine, right? So my advice for you guys is that just shop around, find out what works for you, which artists you sort of emulate, like to you admire a lot, and you wish to emulate, and sort of, you know, study their works and especially their techniques as well. For me, so I enjoy doing this and I enjoy sharing with you guys. So yeah. So if you really like, this is a very nice figure. I must say, it's a very nice figure to work on. Given the size of it, it's actually a very nice, very great experience working on these two figures. Right? So size is just nice. It's comfortable. It's not cumbersome. You get to get more of the figure with this particular scale. Now you get half the body out, and it's good. It's nice. So it's a great size to work with, you know. Yep, so now you can see I can sort of, you know, I have a good idea. You can see it's very quick. So it's a very, very easy way to replicate camouflage patterns. Right, almost there. Yeah. So we can take this, we can take a bit of excess middle brown here, and fill in some of the holes in the openings here. That's nice. Okay, just lightly. About there. So you can see this one pattern coming out. Okay, so maybe it's just use something else to just get a bit of a highlight. In this case, I'm going to use a bit of stone gray here, right? And this maybe just for the base color, Let's throw that in. This is a bit of water, right? Stone gray right about here. The SS middle brown base color. maybe I will take a bit of grey, you know, make it a bit much more greyish. Don't have a bit too much. Okay, and this is a nice color. That's a good, nice color. Yeah. So now I'm going to just see how it looks like. It's a bit of burnt red now. It's also from the Camouflage Camouflage set. I'm going to just squeeze a bit of burnt red right about here. I think it's going to be good for the. It's going to do nicely with the orange. Right. So I'm going to use a bit of the green, flat green, to neutralize the red, and to sort of produce a nice tone, to sort of, you know, that's the color that skirts around the orange here. You can see that. So I'm going to do just add a bit of a Tamiya flat base here, diluted it with some water. This is going to give me that very chalky, faded look. Right. So it's on there. Okay. So again, you can see the paint consistency. Consistency of the paint is relatively very thin. So I'm going to just take this and just draw around it. Yep, and this, you know, this is good. See, there's a leaf pattern coming out. Pretty quick. So take another bit of green, mix it with a bit of the brown. Let's just use it for some of the areas here. See, I'm just applying the highlights there, just dabbing the colors on, and you can see the consistency is almost like a wash, so the brush can flow relatively with ease, you know. Okay, we can work on some of the other colors. The orange again is very faded. So you can see, you can just paint over here, and a bit down here. Just nice, perfect. right the final touch. A bit of the only probably use a very light glaze of the Japanese uniform. Maybe just lightly just touch here. Just a little touch, you know. Yep, just a little touch here. Yeah. Right, so you can see you can sort of like knifen it up a bit. A bit red. Burnt red here. No, sorry. Yep, this is a bit of the burnt red. Yep. Okay. So just gonna get a very weathered look, very faded, worn look. You can see now the colors. You can see it's very, very subdued. This is just only for a small section here. Okay. So place another few more. Green, just cut the just basically using the green to cut the red, such that I don't have a strong. There's a bit of green here, so oops, red and a bit of green. Back there. Move this aside now. Don't really need this. Oops. Okay. Right. I think this is a simple demonstration in terms of how you just go about, painting a small section of the oak leaf camouflage. So I hope you guys enjoy this evening's demonstration. Right. Ciao.